Traci Martin is a woman on a mission. The Kansas City native, a competitive kayaker and professional nurse, plans to paddle 8,600 miles this spring, summer, and fall to set a new world record for the farthest ever documented non-stop paddling trip by kayak in 1 year. She will paddle through the 5 Great Lakes, down the St. Lawrence River, around Nova Scotia and the North Atlantic states, over the Hudson River, and then back to Lake Erie as part of an expedition called Just Around the Point. And if that isn't impressive enough, Martin, 49, is doing this in part to raise awareness for rheumatoid arthritis, a disease she herself was diagnosed with several years ago. Symptoms. Pre-diagnosis. Martin's symptoms began in 2009, when she started feeling pain in her feet and ankles. At first I thought I was running too much or was wearing bad shoes, she recalls. I would wake up in the morning, and from the moment I got out of bed, it was difficult to stand, and it felt like someone had broken all the bones in my feet. She tried to solve the problem herself by switching up her nursing shoes, running in high-end sneakers, and experimenting with inserts. You name it, I bought it, she says. I went through about 12 pair of high-end shoes, and nothing helped. Worsening pain in her hands and wrists. After about 10 months, the pain moved to her hands and wrists. It hurt so bad I could cry. I thought I may be gripping my kayak paddles too tightly, so I tried using duct tape. One evening while working a shift at the hospital, her hands and wrists hurt so badly that she couldn't even spike tubing into an IV bag, a routine task for a nurse. When she told a coworker, the coworker thought Martin was joking. When she realized I wasn't, she told me she thought I may have fibromyalgia and that I should see a doctor, Martin recalls. The doctor's first question. Martin made an appointment right away with her primary care physician, and after listening to her story, the first question he asked was if anyone in her family has rheumatoid arthritis. At that moment, she shut down and started crying. My grandmother had very severe Martin says. Her feet and ankles were twisted, and she was in a wheelchair. She lived with us when I was a child until she died from complications of the disease, and it was my job as a child to take care of her when I came home from school. It never occurred to me that I had it, because I was so active and healthy and winning races. My grandmother was sick and weak, and someone had to take care of all her bodily needs. That's how I saw at that time. Diagnosis, depression, and treatment. Martin desperately hoped her doctor was wrong, but he tested her for and put her on Plaquenil, hydroxychloroquine, and the steroid prednisone while she waited a few weeks for the results to come in. When they came back positive, I was horribly depressed for 3 months, she recalls. But the medications were helping, particularly the prednisone, and she decided she was going to train again for a kayak race. I did it, and I felt good. I wondered why I felt depressed. As long as I take my meds every day. She was later put on methotrexate by a rheumatologist and now takes Humira, adalimumab. I am okay. I am not my grandmother, and it's not the 1970s anymore. Treatments and outcomes are much better. Deciding to pursue a kayaking dream. The idea to embark on this adventure started innocently enough in 2014, when Martin told a teammate at a race that it was on her bucket list to paddle every river that starts with the name of a state. He told me that had been done before, and if I was going to do something like that, I should paddle all 5 of the Great Lakes in the same year since no one had ever done it. Martin recalls. The conversation lasted just a minute and was forgotten until a year later when she was caring for her dying mother. She needed something to distract herself during the day while her mother slept, so she started looking into it, mostly just to send a playful text to her friend that he was wrong about it not having been done before. But after a while, I realized he was right. People have attempted it and failed, and one person even froze to death, she says. Planning her course through the Great Lakes 2 weeks before Martin's mother died, she experienced regrets about the things she never got to do. After her mom's funeral, Martin went home and started crying. She thought to herself, I'm not going to wait. I will be the first woman to paddle all 5 of the Great Lakes, she says. She's since spent 2 years planning the course, saving money, and putting it all together. Once you make up your mind that you're going to do it, there's a switch that flips and you figure out how you can do it, she says. I took on extra shifts at the hospital. I cut my kids' hair so I wouldn't have to pay for a barber. The handle on my stove fell off, and I duct taped it so I wouldn't have to hire anyone. I used heavy-duty magnets to keep the dryer door from falling off. Every dime I have has gone into the expedition. Getting out on the water as therapy. Before she was diagnosed with rheumatoid arthritis, Martin was also a triathlete. But the pain in her knees keeps her from running anymore, so getting out on the water works wonders for her health. Sitting in my boat and paddling makes me feel mentally better, and that makes me physically better, she says. life can still hold amazing possibilities. I aim to encourage and inspire individuals. Hold on to your dreams. Never stop reaching for them, regardless of what the diagnosis says. Martin's journey will begin at Port Huron on March 9, 2017, and is expected to take 265 days. To learn more or to donate to her cause, visit her GoFundMe page.